So, State of Decay 2 just topped the US sales charts for the month of May 2018, and people are absolutely gobsmacked. They're positively riddled. People are losing their damn minds. It beat the smash hit God of War, and it beat Detroit Become Human, a brand new PlayStation exclusive. How did this happen? When I first read this, I too was completely dumbfounded, but I gave myself a moment to think, and you know what I found out, boys and girls? It makes perfect sense. It really shouldn't have been that big of a surprise. Before I get into the nitty-gritty of why, let me just start by saying that this sales chart was provided by the MPD group. This means that all of the sales that State of Decay 2 achieved to make the top of this list were physical. It doesn't include digital sales, nor does it include Xbox Game Pass downloads. Another reason why people couldn't wrap their heads around it. So let's start by addressing the games that it beat. God of War was released in the prior month and sold 5 million copies. The percentile drop-off for the second month was always going to be significant, especially with a massive sales number like 5 million. And Detroit Become Human isn't a mass market game. There are many people that don't like that gameplay style, and a lot of the more hardcore audience have a particular distaste for David Cage and his games. This doesn't mean that both games didn't sell well though, they were both in the number 2 and 3 spot. These are successful games. And when you consider that State of Decay 2 is a sequel to a game that might not have had incredible review scores, but it showed a lot of promise, I bet people picked this game up in the hopes that the game would have improved on the last one. Now, I'm not here to argue about whether or not the second game is better than the first, although the review scores certainly don't do it any favors. No, that's something you can decide for yourself. I'm just here to figure out why it sold so well. But if you haven't decided yet, I would encourage you to. State of Decay 2 might not be a masterpiece, but every now and then, it's just nice to have a game that you can dick around in with some friends. Speaking of friends, State of Decay 2 has online co-op. Again, not here to discuss if it's good or not, but that's what people are being advertised. Surely by now we all know that multiplayer games sell very well. That's why over the last 5 years or so, Ubisoft and EA have really doubled down on it. That seems like an incredibly obvious statement, but seriously, think about how many single player games used to come out back then. The proof is in the numbers, guys. So here's what we've got so far. It's a brand new game, it's a sequel, and it has multiplayer. I haven't even mentioned yet how it's a console exclusive on a platform where people are absolutely starving for exclusive games. So when one actually comes out, and for a lower price than usual might I add, they ate it up. They showed support for their platform, they asked for a new game, and when they got one, they snatched that thing with both hands. So we've established that none of that stuff is surprising, and I don't think that it was that stuff that surprised people either. What I really think caught people off guard is that it was number 1 in the physical sales chart, even though it was available for even less money through Xbox Game Pass. And on top of that, you wouldn't have needed to leave your house to go get it. Now that's the stuff that's hard to understand, right? That's what's confusing. Why go out and buy this game? Now granted, you could get it delivered, but stick with me on my point, when you could stay at home and download it for less. Like I said before, I was confused too, but if you just stop for a second and think, look at the data that's been given to us, really consider all of the factors here. But the truth is, you only really need to consider one factor, and that's that it's a US chart. I've seen people try and explain this whole thing by saying that maybe Xbox Game Pass is spurring on physical sales, and what a load of bollocks that is. Maybe Game Pass users are recommending the game to their friends. I'll give you that. But even then, why wouldn't they just spend the $10 like their friend did to get the Game Pass and save money? I'll tell you why. Data caps. Now, I live in the UK and we don't have data caps over here. Actually, I think we do, but they're not common at all. Most people I know have unlimited data usage and it's pretty affordable too. My data package is 54 megabits per second, unlimited usage for £40 a month. Now, for unlimited usage, that's nothing. I recently bought an Xbox One S and I've got Game Pass. If I wanted to, I could grab a few external hard drives and download every single Game Pass game, but many people in the US can't do that. In the US, people are capped to a maximum data usage, and when they hit that threshold, that's it. No more internet. Or you're charged overage fees, unless you'd like to shell out for extra data, which is overpriced by the way. That's why US ISPs do it. There's no need for the data cap. It's not like the ISPs don't have the bandwidth to facilitate the unlimited data for everyone, because they do. Have you ever heard a high-ranking employee of one of those big ISPs say that data caps are put in place for smooth-running services? I doubt it, because they can't. It would be illegal. They would be lying to the consumer. I know a counter to this whole point might be that you can pay extra to have no data cap, but it's quite a bit more expensive. According to a 2017 article I found from Ars Technica, Comcast charges an extra $50 for no cap. Some people can't afford that. Also, I apologize if this info is out of date, but it's a bit more difficult to research US pricing when you're from the UK. So if at any point I get any of this wrong, please do leave a comment and let me know. Another argument that you could bring up is that not all US ISPs have data caps. And you'd be right in saying that, but the biggest providers like AT&T, Comcast, Cox, and CenturyLink, they all impose data caps, and some people have no choice but to use these services. Other services might not be available in their area, or they may not have a reliable connection. Some people are just stuck. So now that I've gone on this sort of rant about data caps in the US, how does this actually relate to the physical sales of State of Decay 2? Or simply put, people can't afford the cheaper option because it's not really the cheaper option for most people. That's relevant for both time and money. It might take an hour to go to the store and buy the game, but it could take all day to download it. And for many, the download itself, which was just over 20 gigabytes at launch, could mean hitting the cap or being overcharged. People have other stuff that they need to use the internet for. They might love games, but what about when you don't want to play a game? You stream something on Netflix or YouTube or Spotify, or you use an on-demand download service from your cable provider. It all adds up. Some people count this stuff like calories. It's insane. So that's at least why I think State of Decay 2 had really strong physical sales in the US. And it may be a completely different story for the rest of the world. I know I most certainly won't be buying it at full price. I've already paid for Game Pass, so I'm essentially getting the game for free at this point. But again, that's all I could figure out, so if you thought something different, let me know. And before I finish, remember this whole video isn't trying to figure out why State of Decay 2 sold so well because I think it's a bad game or something. I haven't even played the damn game yet. I just wanted to try and figure out why its physical sales were so high, despite the fact that there's a cheaper and seemingly more convenient alternative. It turns out, all I needed to do was look across the pond. Thanks for watching this video, boys and girls. If you found the video informative and for some reason you value my opinion, let me know what else you'd like to hear me talk about. I quite enjoy getting to the bottom of stuff like this. Also, why not leave a like and subscribe? I'd really appreciate it, and I'd love to see you around here again sometime. And if you're already subscribed, I love you loads, and I'll see you next time.